So one thing about me is that I love animation. A lot of my favorite movies and TV shows are animated. I've even made some animated projects myself, which you should check out by the way, link in the description. Anyways, you'd think that someone who loves animation as much as me would also be a fan of indie animation, but you'd be wrong. Now, I have nothing against people that make indie animated pilots, and obviously there are exceptions, but the majority of ones just aren't for me. But that doesn't stop me from frequently looking up indie animated pilots on YouTube, because, not often, but sometimes, I find a pilot that I actually really like. This is how I found a rare gem of an indie animated pilot called the Epilouge of Endings. It's an apocalyptic sci-fi horror series, and it follows a hopeful 12-year-old girl called Lucy, a charismatic former soldier named Blue, and an optimistic robot named CG, who actually reminded me a lot of BMO from Adventure Time. The basic premise of the story is that a month ago, the sun died by splitting open and released 5 ancient creatures called the Monarchs, who wanted to rebuild Earth in their own image. After they showed up, tons of people started mysteriously disappearing, but there are still a few survivors left on Earth who remain hopeful and refuse to give up. What's really cool about this pilot in particular is that it was mainly made by a bunch of students, and that when they launched the Kickstarter, they actually failed to reach their initial $6,000 funding goal just so they could pay themselves minimum wage for their work. But when they failed their initial goal, instead of giving up, they launched a second Kickstarter with a new goal of $1,200 to pay for the audio work, and thankfully they succeeded. There are so many things that I love about this pilot. The character designs, the characters themselves, the animation, voice acting, world building, dialogue, not to mention the end credits song absolutely slaps.
The world is changing all the time, but it was meant for you and I.
Now that being said, the audio mixing could still use some work, and I also think Lucy's voice actress should get a better mic because her audio isn't as crisp And I also think Lucy's voice actress should get a better mic because her audio is not as crisp as the other voice actors, but those are the only two minor complaints that I have. Overall, this is genuinely one of the most creative and interesting pilots I've seen on YouTube. Just from the pilot alone, you can see that this show has a lot of potential, so if you're interested, definitely check it out. I'll leave a link to it in the description. And also consider checking out my own work, an 8-episode series called Most Wanted, as well as my more recent project, an animated short film called The Job. I worked really hard on both, and a lot of talented voice actors were involved in each, so be sure to check them out. The links to both projects will be in the description. Anyways, that's all I got. See ya.